Everybody in chat, guess what mine and Jake's favorite mythic is. We both have individual favorite mythics, and by the end we will tell you which are the favorites. I'm gonna swap over.
If you
We're
do
gonna
get
this.
sick watching this stream, that is not our fault, and nothing on this channel is financial advice.
Let's take a look at the mythics from Commander Legends, Dungeons and Dragons, Battle for Baldur's Gate. Some companies still know how business is done. Jake, we're starting off with the 5 different ancient dragons. We're going to go in alphabetical order here. Ancient Brass Dragon deals combat damage like all the ancient dragons. Deals combat damage, you roll a d20. The black one has the effect to put any number of target creature cards with total MVX or less from graveyards, not just yours, onto the battlefield under your control where X is the result. I have a feeling we're going to say a lot of the same sort of things about all of these ancient dragons. They are big, they are dope, and they have to connect. And so if you can get them to connect, yeah, you're going to have a bomb time. But if they're not connecting, if it's just a blocked, big 7/6, 7/7, whatever in the air that's getting chump blocked by a spirit, because they ain't got menace or trample, any of them, you're going to have a bad time.
Well, thankfully, flying is evasion.
Yeah, it does help. Green, when you roll the d20, you put X +1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 target creatures. Ancient Copper Dragon, you're creating a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. That's pretty nuts. Ancient Gold Dragon,
insane.
You're creating 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying. Actually, probably my second favorite out of all of these. The ancient dragons as it were. And then Ancient Silver Dragon, draw cards equal to the d20. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Jake, overall, what do you think of this cycle of mythic dragons?
Well, I think that what we can see from these, they're all pretty top heavy. They're expensive cards, but they're all very good. They're all pretty busted in their own way.
Oh yeah.
I think there's something about this set where people were kind of annoyed that they didn't get a lot of big reprints, that they were expecting like big splashy reprints. But the only way that we can get new reprints in the future is to get new cards, right? It's like if you want reprints of good stuff, then good stuff needs to be printed that didn't exist before. I mean, that's what needs to happen. So
for sure.
I think a couple of these will be breakouts.
Which ones do you think will be breakouts?
I think, it's easy that the dragon one, create a pile of treasure early, get this out early, protect it, and then make more treasure. Make sure that you find a big win con like a Revel in Riches. I also like that the gold dragon is going wide massively with a bunch of evasion. I mean, like, that's crazy. You're making a bunch of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to the result. That's like huge go wide.
Yeah, I really think that one. So it's a combat damage trigger, right? So you got to think, I'm building this into probably some sort of combat based deck. So which ones are going to really roll well in a combat based deck? Your blue one, not only is it 8 mana, yeah, you get to draw a ton of cards. But I mean, I'm looking at like the white one, you're going wide so hard and you want it to get through. So the sort of, like the same thought is there with the deck building. I'm going to be attacking and hoping to get through using equipment and different ideas, ways to get through. And so I want things like Ancient Gold Dragon, Ancient Bronze Dragon to grow my line either up or out.
Yeah,
I think
like
that's how
green,
I see these.
Easily you're running, like possibly a Rancor in the deck. That way, whenever something dies, you're getting Rancor back. And
you're right.
So that's a way to give, something trample. But there's a lot of different ways to make sure these get through, whether it's some sort of unblockable type effect. But they all want haste. That's the big thing. So for red, you're going to have stuff like Fervor that's going to passively give haste if you want to run something like that. Or if you do have Concordant Crossroads, just give everything haste. But I do think, the Gruul ones are probably going to be the best. Although, like the blue one for 8, you're casting a dragon and then you're getting a passive effect that you're going to have no maximum hand size the rest of the game. I would also like to run some sort of effect if I am going to run something like this, or if I'm going to do some sort of dice roll. It would be nice to have a way to reroll, but I don't think anything like that exists. You know, maybe in the future, something that lets you reroll a dice, but you could come up short. But if you're rolling a d20, the odds are that you're going to go probably, 5+ on this. I'm going to be happy with on any of these.
Okay, so Baloth is not in the main set. That is one of the pre-con cards. Let's look at Baldur in the main set. Red 3 for a 5/5 demon with flying. Says whenever it attacks, love attack trigger, not combat damage trigger, or dies. Also nice. Good. Choose one or more. Each mode must target a different player. Target opponent draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random. Target opponent sacrifices a non-token artifact, or Baldur deals damage to target opponent equal to the number of cards in their hand.
I mean, they're relevant synergies. If you have somebody who's drawing a lot, that can be a big hit. That final mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Draw 3, discard 3. If you build around that, that could be a really good way to rifle through your own deck.
In the limited, I think this will be fun. I don't see this seeing a lot of constructed play personally. That middle mode is probably the best in an actual just casual game of Commander, but it's not always going to hit. I do like that it's an attack trigger and not a combat damage trigger, but for me, Baldur is kind of not super impressive.
There's a lot of people who like to keep a full grip in Commander. I think that last mode could be more relevant than you're thinking. I think that could be hitting, again, this is on the attack. Thankfully, this big beefy red creature has flying here.
Yeah.
But I do tend to agree at $5 it's a little bit expensive, or not $5, 5 CMC, excuse me.
MV,
it is a little
Jake,
bit expensive.
5 MV
for 5 mana value.
So yeah, Baldur kind of untriumphant for me.
Yeah. Now BuzzFuzz is saying forcing people to discard cards at random is strong. I tend to agree. They are drawing and then discarding, but when you are tuning your hand in Commander and you're starting to set up certain plays, having somebody disrupt that can be really annoying.
And there are effects that say opponents can't draw cards more than, just run.
That's true. Narset.
Yeah, just run Narset.
Yeah. Narset Parter of Veils alongside this in a Is It deck could be very strong.
Yeah, maybe. Battle Angels of Tyr, 4 mana for a 4/4. Flying Angel Knight with Myriad, meaning whenever it attacks, for each other opponent, it's going to create a token tapped and attacking, copy of itself. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if that player has more cards in hand than each other player. Then you create a treasure token if that player controls more lands than each other player. Then you gain 3 life if that player has more life than each other player. So, potentially, unless you are the person fulfilling one of those ifs, if all 3 of the main and the 2 myriad tokens get through, you're going to be drawing a card, creating a treasure token, and gaining 3 life, right? Because
it's
as long as you're not the player with the most lands, the most life, or the most cards in hand,
you're going to be doing something.
Right. You'll be activating then if all of these get through. I think in limited, this is going to be super good. In constructed, I want to test it.
I think it being an angel makes it super relevant.
Yep.
It being an angel and a knight makes it super relevant. It's a 4/4 for 4 with just a mountain of text.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much that it's going to do on that damage trigger. Yeah, I think this will end up being a staple in pretty much any angel deck if I had to guess. If it were on the attack, it would make it insane.
Oh, if it was
but I
an
do
attack,
think it being combat damage is,
it's what balances it.
It's relevant. It's relevant.
Blood Money's a 7 mana sorcery that destroys all creatures, then gives you a tapped treasure token for each non-token creature destroyed this way. Do you run this? Do you run this, Jake?
If I'm in treasure, I 1,000,000% run this because most likely I'm going to be able to ramp into it early and then it's going to pay for itself. So yeah, I would absolutely run it.
Board wipe. Let me tell you this, chat. If you're going to go draft this set, if you're going to go play this limited, the first time around, this set was dirtily. Commander Legends 1 is what I'm talking about. Tons of creatures on the ground and in the air. Boards just clogged up. A board wipe like this is so valuable in that limited format. Can't be understated. Can't be overstated.
If you can get a board wipe in limited, I mean, that's great. I remember, I think I drafted in Eternal Masters, I got a Wrath of God once, and that was sweet. I am seeing from Harry Saxon is saying this can go into a Negan sack deck as well. That's Absolutely. A good note. That's a good note.
Absolutely.
Mr. Buzzfuzz in mono black, I would play it as well because black ramps fast. That's true. That's true. If you have Cabal Coffers online, you could just get that going.
Oh yeah,
real quick.
They're kind of Revenant.
Yeah, anything like that. The Liliana that makes all of your swamps double.
Yeah, triple, I think.
And goes searches up swamps as well.
Next up, we got Bramble Sovereign. This is one of our reprints in the set, one of our very few reprints. 4 mana, 4/4. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you can pay a green and one other, and if you do, creature's controller creates a token that's a copy of that creature. Straight up.
Very strong.
Very strong. We reviewed this card
extremely strong.
First time in Battle Bond when we saw it for the first time.
Yep.
This card is great. Moving along to Elminster.
All right, here we go.
Elminster, the legendary planeswalker that can be your commander. Blue, white, 3 other, 5 loyalty, passive. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. +2, draw a card, then scry 2. -3, exile the top card of your library. Create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. Wow.
I'm very medium on it.
Not a fan?
But it can be your commander, which is cool.
Earlier, I saw this.
I mean, it has Scribe built into it, which is great.
Earlier, I saw this card, Jace's Sanctum. Blue and 3. Instants and sorceries you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, scry 1. So, I want to take Elminster and I want to combine it with stuff like that and just make it scry crazy.
Yeah. I mean, here's the question is, do you run stuff like Opt? You know, are you running...
Yes. I would be running all that kind of stuff because all those cantrips low are going to be... I want cantrips that are going to scry and draw, not just scry.
Yeah.
And so if we're scrying and it replaces itself, you're just reducing the spells that you're casting. You're casting 5 mana, 6 mana spells for 3 and 4.
I don't know. I'm a little bit medium on it. I might be poorly evaluating the card, but I'm a little bit medium on it. It's 5 mana for 5 loyalty, so the loyalty is good. I mean, it does have some tokens built into it as well, which is pretty sweet. You just have to have good mana value up there. But if you are scrying, then you should be able to set up what's up there. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I might be wrong.
Elminster comes out. You know you've got a 6 mana spell on top. Take him down 3. Creates 6 1/1s with flying. Suddenly you've got a pretty well protected Elminster. That's one that I want to brew with.
What would be sweet is if it said you may sacrifice 3 fairies until end of turn, cast a card exiled with Elminster until end of turn.
They should have made you a designer.
Doesn't say that.
They should have made you a designer.
That's my only problem is, say you get something big and splashy up there, you're like, okay, well, this is a high CMC, but I want to go ahead and exile it to make a bunch of fairies, and now instead of playing this big splashy spell, you're exiling it to make stuff. I don't know, but then you also want to run like scry cards so that you can scry a lot. I don't know.
I think it's an interesting, tricky, wizardy balance.
Yeah, I think so. Someone will be able to run it to great effect, and I'll look back and be like, well, that's why I am not a professional MTG player.
Speaking of Elminster, we've got Elminster's Simulacrum. Instant speed 6 mana spell. Speaking of 6 mana spells that you could scry away. For each opponent, you create a token that's a copy of up to one target creature that player controls.
This is very strong.
Instant speed. This looks like a sorcery to me, but it's got instant speed.
I mean, this is insane for blocking.
Right.
This is insane for, geez, a lot of situations.
It's a fun response card. Obviously,
yeah,
like anything where you can specifically only copy your opponent's stuff, it's going to be situational, because there's going to be, I'll tell you, the middle line of this card, what you're mostly going to get is like one really good creature, one solid one, and then like a token 1/1 spirit, because that's all the third opponent had, you know.
And Cordero is saying you can copy a commander as well. That's something that you're likely going to be able to do. So depending on if that commander works with your deck or any kind of synergies that you have built in. Now, someone needs to remind me, how will this work with ETB effects? Are you getting an ETB on a copy? I don't think you are, right?
You create a token. Yeah. It ETBs.
Oh yeah, because the token enters the battlefield.
Correct.
Right. So it's going to be good for certain ETB effects. You know, you might have somebody with like an Eternal Witness on the battlefield. You want to copy that. And
yeah, I see some people in chat.
Yeah.
David Armstrong talking about they could sack that creature in response. Okay. I'm going to create a token of your best creature, and in response, you're going to kill it for me. Deal?
Right.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. I mean, that works.
Let's get it going. All these are in our precons. Next up, we've got Font of Magic. This looks like an Elminster card. 4 mana for an enchantment that says instants and sorceries you cast cost 1 less to cast for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. So you're looking like partners,
early
right?
on. Dude, early on for me, I was talking about there's a card in this set that I like a lot. And this is it.
Font of Magic.
This is the card. Yeah, I love this card so much because I would build it into a deck where, you know, maybe a low to the ground commander I expect to die
right
a good bit. And it's going to make all my board wipes cheaper later. It's going to make any instant or sorcery I cast cheaper later on in the game. That's going to be, I mean, very, very strong, I think. Even though it costs 4 mana, you're not getting anything the turn that you play it for 4.
Right.
I think there's a deck that absolutely wants it. I think it's very good.
Partners, obviously you want to look at partner decks for this to really maximize partners or backgrounds, because you're going to have they both count as your commander in the command zone. So if you cast your background more than once, that's going to count towards Font of Magic here. This is the kind of enchantment that, you know, it's either going to do little to nothing or it's going to blow the game out for you. And
yeah,
so,
I think I see someone saying Rograk Storm.
Right?
Yeah. It is pretty good with partners. That's a good note. Yep.
I think it's where it really shines. From the set, we've got Karlach, Fury of Avernus. 5 mana for a 5/4 Tiefling Barbarian. Whenever you attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap all attacking creatures. They gain first strike. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So we get a little seize the day, except on a creature. And it's not Karlach attacking. Karlach can be treated as sort of an enchantment out of the command zone. It says whenever you attack. So it's looking at you. Any creatures you got. You could build up your board, smack Karlach down, and go to town.
Right.
I like this as an enchantment.
I think that's the best way to play this commander, because anybody's just going to be dying to block it. You know, get it off the board. If you don't have removal for it, then you're absolutely going to want to kill it at all costs. So yeah, I would hold it back. I would build it into any type of, you know, Probably a Gruul strategy, so probably go red-green on this. Make sure you have a bunch of beaters to the point where when you do attack, it's going to matter. But I think in any go wide, go big with red, this is going to be a really strong commander. I think it's good.
Love that
I
they
like
give
to
them
choose
first
the
strike.
background too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this as a partner-ish commander, because you get to also choose a background, kind of cool.
Right.
Have two. Again, I'm gonna treat Karlach like an enchantment out of the command zone. Give you this cool attack trigger ability. Run another enchantment with your background out of the command zone that's also geared towards combat decks. I think this could be a really fun attacking build. That brings us to Legion Loyalty, an 8-mana white enchantment. Jake loves enchantments. Favorite permanent type? How about an 8-mana one that just gives every creature you control myriad? Build up an enormous board. 31-1 soldiers. Then when you attack with those 31-1 soldiers all at me, they also go at opponent 2 and opponent 3. Because they all get token created.
What's that Mardu general that loves replenish type effects? That's where I would run this. I think that this is... It's very medium to me. 8 mana is a lot. The effect is big.
I know you're talking about. Return an enchantment from the graveyard to the battlefield, or sack an enchantment or something.
Yeah, so I would be running stuff like Faithless Looting, Tormenting Voice, pitch this away, run stuff like Captive Audience, other big monster enchantments, run Replenish, get this in the graveyard. No, it's not this guy. It was Commander Legends 1.
I know. I'm just saying, yet again, here's another card that works well with Ishin, being Combat Harmonicon.
Permanent.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
So good.
Gen. That's it. Mr. Buzzfuzz has it. I would run that with Gen.
Yeah. Sack an enchantment, return target enchantment from the graveyard to the battlefield. Yep.
And so I'd figure out a way to... Yeah, I think this is a general that's super casual, but it's fun. And so people that want to be able to play, giant splashy enchantments like this, and like Overwhelming Splendor comes to mind. There's so many of these big over-the-top enchantments that get printed.
Yeah.
I think that this is too top-heavy to be super relevant. I might be wrong, but 8 mana just doesn't seem very competitive to me in white.
How about 8 mana in green? That's a little more relevant. Sorcery that says reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the greatest mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So you want to run a big CMC commander with majestic Genesis. You may put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield. Hint, run this in a deck where you mostly have permanents in the deck, and then the rest go on the bottom in a random order.
I mean, this is a sorcery that does something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what commander is commander color green CMC greater than or equal to? I mean, let's go 8 for 8 mana. Let's go down 8 cards for 8 mana. So CMC is greater than 8 mana. EDH rec rank. You got
Zakama.
Galta would be fun for this. Maelstrom Wanderer, Zakama. That'd be super cool.
Oh yeah, Dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah, it has some application.
Yeah.
Carador. Ooh, Carador. It's kind of cool.
Now see, that's the kind of trick you want with cards like this. Backdooring the mechanic, because Carador reduces itself, but it's still a huge CMC creature. I actually really like this in Carador.
It's just another very expensive spell.
Carador, you're running basically all creatures, right? Or mostly creatures. And so you're gonna go dig down 8 mana, 8 cards, put all the permanents onto the battlefield straight up.
Yeah,
could turn. I think
it's really good.
You want a high CMC commander like Carador that can also. It just works so well in that deck. You ramp it out really fast. It's 8 mana, but in green, it's not going to take you long to get to 8 mana. Like, this is a spell I want to play early. I want to get this out there ASAP. My entire game plan, if this is in my opening hand, I'm just going to be ramping 8 mana as quickly as possible. save the
Now,
other
if
stuff
I'm in
in my
treasure,
hand.
I would run this. If I'm in colors that support treasure, if I'm in like a red green, you know, and I've just done a dockside or something like that. That's the thing though, is like a lot of the treasure is outside of those colors. So, I mean, red has good treasure support.
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of medium on it, but I do like a big sorcery that when you cast it, it does something.
Absolutely.
Puts permanence onto the battlefield. Is strong.
Another commander, Planeswalker here. We saw this in early previews, but we'll look at it real quick. 4 mana for 3 loyalty. ETBs, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. Jake can always talk about how much we like Planeswalkers. If you're going to run a Planeswalker in Commander, it's already going to be kind of, you know, powered down from what it is and constructed. But if you are going to run a Planeswalker in Commander, we like ones that can create a body to protect it. And this one does it without any investment into the card itself. You just play it. When you play
you just get a new hamster.
You get the hamster. You play it, you get the hamster. If your hamster dies at the beginning of your upkeep, you get it back. You don't have to tick down. You don't have to tick up. The +1 puts 3 +1/+1 counters on it if it's a creature with trample or haste. And I love that that's permanent growth. A lot of times that would just say gets +3/+3 till end of turn. Something like that. And then in green and red, -2, sack a creature. When you do, deals X damage to any target. Any target. So that's creatures and players, where X is the creature's power. And if the sack creature was a hamster, your hamster, you get to draw X cards in a red and green deck. 4 mana, Jake. I think that this is another one where I'm pretty excited to brew around this, play it, try it out. Brew around Boo. Got him.
Brew around Boo. It has a token that protects it, which is strong. I like it, man. It has draw built in. It has direct damage built in.
The token has trample. The token has haste. It can become a 4/4.
It has good counter synergy as well. Yeah, I think there's something here. I do.
Yeah, I like that. Proliferate strategies built into Minsc and Boo. Not only is it helping you with your Planeswalker side, but it's also helping you with your hamster side. I think that one's got some play. I'm excited to build that one.
Oh, someone said pick up the Grand Prix Goblin Guide promos while they're well under $10.
Nautiloid Ship. Nautiloid Ship's a 4 mana 5/5 vehicle with flying. Enters the battlefield, you exile target player's graveyard. Straight up. Sorry, Carador deck. I have Nautiloid Ship in my deck. And then when it deals combat damage, you can put a creature card, exiled with it, onto the battlefield under your control.
All right, so this just makes your exiled piles a little bit wonky. You just have to keep track of what was exiled with Nautiloid Ship.
For sure. This is a card that's tough for me because cards like this you don't want to see until like turn 8, turn 9, mint max, you know, like earliest. You need
what's
some
crazy,
good targets.
what you get back could be very good. It could be enough to swing the game for you.
Could be.
You know?
Could be.
Yeah. Or it could just be some, you know, nice toolbox creature that lets you get something back from your graveyard or something. There's versatility implied with this card, which is good.
Yeah. When free stuff is always good.
Exiling a yard is normally going to be something pretty relevant.
It's the kind of card like the CMC doesn't matter to me because it just it's only exiling.
What's cool? It's a renewable
player.
Graveyard exile effect. So if you are able to, you know,
if you blink it,
bounce it, blink it, you could just keep that going, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I could see
that. Does Crystal Shard return a creature? It does, right?
Yeah.
So if you animate this, attack with it, return your Nautiloid Ship animated, play it again, exile a yard again.
Seems like a lot of steps.
Yeah, it's casual, but it's interesting.
Yeah. I do like the design. It is interesting. Here's an artifact that's black. A black and 3 other for an equipment. It's got an equip of discard a card. No mana. So once you play it, if you got a card in hand, pitch that card. It's equipped to whatever you want to equip it to on your side.
Yep.
Whenever it's attached to a creature, you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. That could be pesky. Make sure that this is attached to something that's got some staying power. Because if you do this a bunch, you get into negative life. Obviously, if this comes unattached from whatever creature it's attached to, that's it. You don't.
Darksteel Mirror, dude.
You gone. Darksteel Mirror. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody should just always run Darksteel Mirror in their deck. So that you got a 0/1 indestructible. Look at how ready he is to perform. He actually kind of looks tired.
Darksteel Mirror is like, they won't let me die. I will never die.
Packed Weapon. Pretty interesting artifact. Then we got Storm King's Thunder, one of these big red instant spells. 3 red, X. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell X times. Straight up. So you cast your instant or sorcery, you spend 5 mana, you copy that spell twice.
Yep. Any treasure deck.
I like how
any deck with
I
treasure.
like now how any big CMC spell, we're just like, oh, this goes well in a treasure deck.
Yeah. I mean, the art is amazing. The art is really good.
So many copy shenanigans running around. 5 mana at instant speed to copy it twice. Not bad. The going rate for copy a spell is 2 red, right? So if you got two times, you a little bit over, but you're also paying the mana for it to be instant speed. And if you can figure out a way to get that instant or sorcery cast for free or for cheaper through like Foretell or some kind of free casting mechanics,
sure,
then you got, 6 mana, 7 mana to spend on this. Copy that 3-4 times.
I'm thinking about, good 1 mana removal spells, something like a Swords or something like a Path to Exile.
Yeah.
And you're able to reverberate that
bunch of times.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're just casting Go for the Throat.
Right. Yeah, anything big mana would want this, I would imagine. I don't know. I'm kind of medium on it, but it's pretty strong.
It's not really your kind of card. It's not really my kind of card either. But I do know that Storm players, this is the kind of thing they look at and their eyes get big.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Our third
MTG Gaming Bob says Jessica's Will.
Right.
I
Yeah.
copy Warp World 4 times. Yes, that's the life we're trying to live.
That's when you hear my
That's the
car
life
out in
we
the
want.
parking lot go whoop whoop because I've just pressed the button to crank it because I'm about to head out.
Well, we're actually going to talk about Tasha.
Our third commander planeswalker, Tasha the Witch Queen. A black, a blue, 3 other for a 4 loyalty. Passively, whenever you cast a spell you don't own, create a 3/3 black demon creature token. +1, draw a card for each opponent, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery from that player's graveyard and put a page counter on it. And then -3, you may cast a spell from among cards in exile with page counters on them without paying their mana cost.
Well, what's cool about this is the page counter makes sure that each Tasha, the previous version of it, doesn't matter. So if it gets
Correct.
removed and stuff, there's stuff with page counters on it. So that's good. I think it's good. You're able to target specific cards with the effect. You're not getting something random. Yeah, it's just versatility. It's a toolbox card. So, and it has a little bit of protection built in.
I don't think it's so
You're
much a
creating
toolbox
3/3.
card as it is going to provide. Yeah, I mean, it does sort of backdoor you a toolbox, but you're not going to know what you're going
That's
to
how
be
I feel.
getting. Because
Right, that's what I'm saying. But you are able to target specific cards. So what I would
Right.
do in my opinion, is I would target stuff that I'm like, well, I'm most likely going to need this at some point.
Well, it's for each opponent, and so you do get 3 different hits off of just one uptick. So yeah, it's like, okay, single target removal, single target removal. You know what? I'll take the board wipe for yeah, exactly, ramp, exactly. Because you also don't need the mana because you play it casting it for free, so you don't need any color of mana.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to combine this with like a mill strategy for sure. Anything that's going to just have all players dump a big chunk of their library into their graveyard to give you maximum value on this. I mean, can you imagine with Tasha hitting one of these 6, 7, 8 mana instants or sorceries that we've been seeing?
Yeah. I mean, well, hold on one second.
That's how it could be ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about it, but I'm like, you know, as they're using stuff, if they're using removal, if they're using spells, you know, they're going to be putting stuff in the graveyard. So on that draw, you're going to be able to go in the graveyard and look at what they've used later in the game. So this card gets better and better the longer the game goes. I think there's something here. You know, the 4 loyalty, 5 mana is a little bit tough in these colors if this is your commander. So you are going to want to, you know, run a nice stack of mana rocks. If I was in blue-black, I'm going to probably have a good bit of mana rocks and stuff like that. But I do like that this is going to be able to get you into colors and effects that you typically wouldn't get in these colors, which is going to be good. So that's interesting.
This is the kind of...
It's like a hostage taker in a way.
I love this, and I love coming from this direction to build a mill deck, because your goal isn't necessarily deck all of your opponents, but you're getting value out of those cards that you're milling. So you're not just using your own graveyard as a second hand, you're using your opponent's graveyards as your 3rd, 4th, and 5th hand. I like that.
Right.
We got 2 more from the set, 2 more mythics from the set. Vexing Puzzle Box is an artifact.
It's a puzzle box. That's a thing.
3 mana artifact. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a number of charge counters on Vexing Puzzle Box equal to the result. Tap it, add a mana of any color, roll a d20. Tap it, remove 100 charge counters from it. Search your library for an artifact, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Well, it is one of the best ever 3 mana value mana rocks.
Free Blightsteel Colossus. What artifact are we searching for out of this?
I mean, there's a lot of really good artifacts that are high mana value. Go get your Darksteel Forge.
Go get your reactor. Work towards winning a game. Go get your forge. Now suddenly everything's indestructible on your side.
Citadel.
Oh, Bolus's Citadel.
Yep. That's what I would get.
Bro. That's a piece of your combo win there.
Now the thing is let's keep in mind it's gonna take a minute to get there.
Well, I mean,
reckon probably about 7 or 8 uses of this.
It's a mana box that charges itself up, and I think you're really only running this if you've got a dice rolling deck, and that's what you're doing.
Well, the dice roll is built into the card, but yeah, if you are able to build it into a dice rolling deck, then yeah, it's really going to thrive there, and you're going to get there a lot quicker.
Nitpicking Nerd says search for Phyrexian Metamorph and clone it. I like that.
Great Henge. That's a good one.
Go get your Shapeshifter. Anyway, Mythic artifact,
fun.
mana rock, 3 mana rock. Moving on, last one, and it's one that we've seen. Volo Itinerant Scholar. A blue and 2 for a 2/3 human wizard. When it ETBs, create Volo's Journal, a legendary colorless artifact token with hexproof. And whenever you cast a creature spell, note one of its creature types that hasn't been noted for this artifact. Pay 2, draw a card, tap it, draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent you control named Volo's Journal.
Well, I like that it draws cards. It seems very niche. It seems like super duper specific.
I like that the token has hexproof. I mean, it's just gonna get eaten in any kind of board wipe, but it's only a 3-mana wizard, and you do get choose a background, so you do get a secondary commander to sort of assist with this, because Volo wants to see this is like unique creature type tribal.
Whenever you cast this creature spell, note one of the creature types that hasn't been noted for this artifact. Draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent you control. Name Volo's journal. So maybe something Simic.
Yeah, for sure.
But Simic already has like so much draw built into it, you know?
Right. The first Volo that we ever got said whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. I like what Brandon said about, seems like the new Volo might go in the 99 of the OG Volo, because you're still going to be noting unique creature types.
You get the journal,
a card. Yeah,
and then even if it dies, you still have this hexproof thing.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So, those are the mythics in the main set. If you were watching, you saw us skip a lot of mythics. Those are the mythics from the pre-cons. We'll be covering those in another video. Let us know how these do for y'all in limited or in constructed down in the comments below, because I want to hear if our assessments of these are accurate or not.
All right, so Joel, at the end, tell me your favorite mythic from the set. Which one do you like the most? Which one are you the most excited about?
I really think Minsk and Boo is really interesting to me, just because that's super up my alley. I don't have a Planeswalker is my commander deck, and this is the first one that's ever super interested me. It's got the card draw built in, so it's nice to have that out of the command zone alongside, you know, the combat damage to kind of help out. Past that, I really think that the combat damage one here too, the attack steps, I really think that if I build a few of these background decks, Karlach Fury of Avernus, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, is definitely going to be one that I build.